When we talk about the spiritual realm and interacting with it, we can classify the methods in doing so in three different categories. One is a more traditional method, and that is through religious, specifically Christian themes, such as prayer, fasting, visions, discernment, and other spiritual practices outlined in the Bible. The Bible is a spiritual book, and there are countless supernatural stories and supernatural themes and methods that even today are still verifiable. The second is through esoteric practices such as pagan traditions, seances, scribing, different rituals, meditation techniques, divination, ESP, and so on and so forth. But the third is a more neutral standpoint, neutral in intent, but not necessarily in experience. And that would be through chemical changes in your brain, through substance use. Psychedelics are taken by a sizable number of people throughout the world for different reasons. The experience of a trip can be overwhelming and transformative. Trips can range from enlightening to terrifying, all depending on the mood and even the setting. But in both cases, the brain's ordinary filters are down, and thousands of nerve cells fire in different ways, creating this dreamlike geometrical world that users report. In these altered states, the mind projects vivid geometrical visions and fractal patterns and other things like that. In philosophy of mind, some scholars ask whether the brightest psychedelic journeys might crack open a transpersonal dimension of consciousness. And no, this is not science fiction we're dealing with here. Pre-Columbian Mesoamericans, for instance, used psilocybin mushrooms, LSA, and even toad biotoxins in certain ritual ceremonial practices. Excavations even found DMT and related substances on altars dating back millennia. In short, pre-modern history civilizations often used these plant medicines as literal gateways in search of contact with their higher spiritual beings. Terence McKenna argued that DMT allows users to perform trans-dimensional travel and meet entities from other planes. The DMT experience often includes aliens or entities, or like I like to call them, alien entities. In my previous videos, I argued that the line between extraterrestrial and interdimensional beings are basically very blurred, and the two terms should almost be used interchangeably.
So here you find a war, and the Bible says it was in heaven, a war that was in heaven. And it says that Michael, who was an archangel, in heaven there were three archangels. There was Michael, the archangel that cares for the military relationships with God, the fighting angel. And there was Gabriel, the telecommunication angel that carries all the messages. Wherever in the Bible somebody's getting a message, it's always Gabriel that's there. And then you had Lucifer, who led the choir, and who led the praise, and who led the worship in heaven. And so you have three mighty contingencies of angels that could have had 100 million in each area, because heaven is so great. And in this third one, there was war because of his lifting himself up and exalting himself. And if we haven't gotten into it, we certainly will get into it again. And that he got cast out, and there was the beginning of your entity that came from another world. He is alien to this place. He don't belong here. This is not his home. This world don't belong to him. The Bible says that everything that God made on this earth belongs to man.
These entities come in many forms. A recent study analyzing thousands of online DMT trip reports found that roughly half of all users described meeting an entity. The types were surprisingly consistent. The most common were humanoid or feminine guides, 17%. Traditional alien visitors, think round head, big black eyes, 16%. And other less common encounters include reptilian creatures, mythological beings, machine elves, jesters, and other clown figures. To the average person, they may call these visions hallucinations, but for those who have had a spiritual experience, these are not just illusions. But just because an encounter is seemingly positive, it doesn't mean that it should be coveted. it is very loosely possible to navigate your way through the spiritual realm, quote unquote, safely. Almost similar to astral traveling techniques, where you separate your human spirit from your human body to navigate the spiritual realm. Psychedelics almost bring the spiritual realm to you, with or without leaving your physical body. This is one of the main reasons why the Holy Bible forbids mind-altering substances, because it opens up the human spirit to the quote-unquote wild, wild west that is the spiritual realm, with a whole bunch of entities and doctrines that are waiting on the other side. It's almost like driving without a GPS, compared to the techniques used on the right-hand path, where you trust God to help you navigate through the spiritual realm safely, obviously in the way that He intended from the beginning. It goes without saying that DMT can alter your brain chemistry long after the effects of it have wore off. Many people have recorded it curing other mental illnesses and psychological disorders like depression, schizophrenia, or anxiety. Hence the halo effect surrounding it, compared to other substances such as alcohol. Most people who take it do it for the spiritual reason rather than the physical effects it has, I would say. Enlightenment and knowledge are attractive to people searching for a spiritual experience. But following the neutral or left-hand paths can give you a lot more than you bargained for. The spiritual realm exists almost simultaneously with the physical realm. It's just that the average person cannot access that in their daily lives, at least without trying, and specifically without using one of the above 3 paths that I just mentioned.